It is easier to preach than to practice. A very blossoming good morning. This is Pragati
And I, Rupali.
Today we are on behalf of Innocent Heart School. We feel highly obliged on having been given a chance to interview a very highly esteemed official of Jalandhar, the Commissioner of the Police, Mr. K.Sinha.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, sir.
So, sir, shall we begin?
Oh, why not? Shoot away.
So, I would really love to learn. Could you please enumerate your journey to success?
Well, I don't know whether it's success, but my journey so far in life, yeah. I belong to a very, very humble family, and that family, my father was a coal miner.
Okay.
The first educated person in our family, among the three youngest brothers. My Tayaji had the wisdom to make my father study.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would be in some backward village of Bihar grazing cattle today. It was one man's vision that brought the whole family out. So, we belong to a family of very little land holding. What I am today is because of the education my parents gave. My larger family set it up for us. So, my father, being a coal miner, was around in the hinterland of Ranchi for a long time, in the various coal fields of Jharkhand. So after 7th, I've been in hostel, because he would be in back of beyond in the coal mines. So he put me in a hostel. So I done my 10th from a school called St. Vincent's High-End Technical School from Asansol, a school which is 1898, established in 1898. So you have a school called St. John's in Chandigarh, the same group, but that was a very old school, very huge school with 15 football fields within the boundary wall. It's a huge thing which you don't get these days. So that's where I did my 10th. I did my plus 2 from Patna Science College.
Okay.
My graduation in economics honors from Delhi University Hansraj College, and my post-graduation in economics from JNU.
Okay, that's very pleasant to hear. You have
that's my journey, and then I decided to become a citizen. So I'm an economist by education, a policeman by profession, and a teacher and trainer by passion.
Okay, that's really lovely.
I have I've been in police for now 22 years, and out of these 22 years, 7.5 to 8 of them have been spent as a trainer. I have been a trainer at the Punjab Police Academy for Lord. For 5 years, I was trainer at what is the National Police Academy, where whenever an IPS officer is recruited, he has to spend 1 year in institutional training at a place called National Police Academy in Hyderabad. So I was a trainer there for 5 years, from 2009 to 2014. I have trained 600 direct IPS officers, and many of them are. A lot of people you see around, young officers, they're all my trainees.
So these kinds of trainings we hear of, but we are unaware what kind of hardships you face in those trainings. So
Not hardship, they're difficult trainings.
Difficult trainings.
Yeah, in the sense that a lot is compressed in a short period of time. But having said that, look, the civil service exam is a very tough exam.
Obviously.
So at the moment, I think around 7 lakh people are taking it, and out of that around 1,000 are finally selected, and out of that 1,000, around 150 come into the IAS and 150 come into the IPS, and various other services. So almost everyone coming in is above average, right?
Yeah.
So they have been good students, they have been achievers in various fields of life. But hence, picking up for them is not a challenge. Picking up new skills, new knowledge, cognitive, maybe skill or attitudinal, is not a difficulty. However, what is difficult is coping with the amount of inputs giving. So in 1 year, you're bombarded with knowledge and inputs. So that is the difficult part. You get up 6 o'clock in the morning, you do 3 hours of outdoors, then you do 6 hours of indoors, and again in the evening you do 3 hours of outdoors. By the evening you are sloshed and tired. So that's the difficult part about IPS training. But I think in the first 3-4 months, people get used to it. Yeah.
So, sir, do you believe hard work beats talent, or talent does beat hard work?
Look, there's no substitute to hard work.
Yeah.
And people who say, if people say okay, he got there because of his talent, he wouldn't have been there had he not done the hard work. So hard work is an essence. Talent can make you first among equals.
Yeah.
But hard work is what will get you there. So that there's no replacement for hard work. There's something good to have and something that you have to have. So hard work you have to have. Talent is something good to have. So that's how it is.
That's a very nice proverb. Sir, with due apology, I would really love to know, even though I'm sitting in front of you, yet in my back of my mind, I have some fear that the public has developed by this time, a fear of police. They're unable to contact. So how do you think has the police maintained a connection with the masses?
No, police has failed in that. We have been a failure as far as credibility is concerned. Police is passing through a huge phase of credibility. Not passing through, it's been there throughout. And there could be various reasons I can ascribe for that. Again, these are not excuses for low credibility.
Yeah.
The police after independence did not change much. It should have been a new police after independence. Pre-independence and post-independence, people did not see a drastic change in the way we did policing, in the way we trained, in the way we approached various things. And hence, the attitudinal aspects in police did not change. The society has changed. The way policing is done is not changed. So there is a big gap in what the aspirations of the society from the police and what police is able to deliver. By and large, we are still an undereducated force. People should be a bit afraid of the police. Okay? So as a student, when I used to see when I would be driving my motorbike and I would see a police naka, I would miss a beat.
Yeah, I definitely, we do that.
So I think a bit of that is required. But the negative image is what is a challenge, right?
Yes.
People are afraid of the police world over.
Yes.
And so they should be. Because police is the strong arm of the government.
Because if there is no decorum, it can't be
Yes.
possible.
After all, why do we say China progressed so much?
Yeah.
They had an iron hand to implement it. Well, I'm not saying that's the ideal system. Democracy, there's no better system than democracy. But then we need some amount of social discipline. The chaos you see on the roads is not created by the police, not created by the laws, it's created by the people. The dirtiness that you see across roads and across societies, across mohallas and colonies, the sanitation that we see, it's about bad discipline. So we as a society are quite indisciplined. In such a society, there needs to be a fear of the police, but the negative image of the police needs to be changed. You should be afraid. Every person who does wrong should be afraid. A law-abiding citizen should not be afraid. That is a challenge. That is a gap we need to bridge, and it will take huge amount of efforts. It will take organizational attitude. It will take individual attitude. We are working towards it. We are working towards improving the core policing structure, not to trying to do window service कि कोई function organize कर दो ये कर दो और back end में गलत करते रहो. My attitude is do the right thing. Once you start doing that, it will change, but it's a slow process. Improving, and remember this in life, improving your image takes a long time, spoiling it takes one day.
Exactly. What kind of ordeals do you face in your day-to-day life maintaining with your job, related to your job?
All kinds. And mostly people who have been victims of crime. But I also face people who are frauds, and want to lodge false complaints on others. I face people who are misusing the law. I face people who are trying to pose as good whereas they have done something wrong. And most often I face people, touts, people who just want to become small-time leaders by bringing in various parties and trying to argue for them vociferously. And that's the most painful part of society. And that's a challenge for me. A common man should not need the help of these small-time brokers to come to me. They should have the confidence to come to me and speak up and talk about the problems.
Yes, that's very right. The youngsters of today are getting indulged into many of the drug abuse habits, the addictions that they, and this also leads to criminal offences. You might have faced many of the situations like those.
Most of my property crimes, be it snatchings, be it robberies or burglaries, they are all related to drugs. So it's a huge challenge for us. Pushing of drugs, consumption of drugs, storing of drugs, doing business in drugs, they are crimes in itself. But the spin-off of drugs, availability of drugs is very high. What you might have noticed in the last 6-8 months, we have been able to control a lot of the large guys.
Yes.
The focus of the Punjab police was on the big guys. So quite a few of them have got caught. A huge amount of recoveries have been made. Now we are getting into catching the street pushers. So people who are pushing their drugs at the street level, we are now getting after them. What has happened is, because of the drive at the higher level, the street level prices have gone 3 times. So, and that has an indirect effect on my other crimes. So if the price of drug increases, the drug addict needs to do 3 snatchings to get his drugs rather than 1. Pehle he would snatch 1 purse and get 5,000 bucks and he could live for another 10 days. Now he needs 15,000 bucks to live for 10 days. So he needs to do more crime to get that money. So there is a connect, but without bothering for that, we are controlling those crimes on one side, but now we are getting after the street level pushers.
That's visible we see in Jalandhar. The rate of drug abuse is getting low day by day.
It is, but I would appeal through you to various sections of society. Look, drug abuse is a reality. Any family can have it. People are still scared, not even scared, they're shy of accepting that there is a drug abuser in my family. It's not crime. Abuse of drug, it is a medical issue. We are not going to catch drug abusers, people who are consuming drugs. People who are selling drugs, they are my target. People who are committing crimes for money, be they drug abusers or whatever, I'm going to catch them. But if you have a patient in your home, because for me a drug abuser is a patient.
Yes.
So he should be taken, and there is a sure shot cure for drug abuse. Go and get him treated.
So
there's nothing wrong. Accept the reality. If there is a drug abuser in your family, so be it. It could happen with anyone. It could happen with me. It could happen with anyone one of us. So don't get shy or coy about that. I know cases. They are going to Firozpur. They are going to Bhatinda and getting their people treated there from Jalandhar. They don't want. Log kya kahenge? So don't get into that mode. This is how I look at it. Maybe it's easier for me to say, but I would like more and more people to come up to me and say that this is a case I have. Please get him treated. I am sitting here. We have our wherewithal. The government has its structure in place. We can get people treated. There's sufficient amount of space. There's sufficient amount of drug de-addiction centers available in Jalandhar.
So these kinds of treatments which are provided to the drug addicts, is it sure that they would not be prone to it again?
Look, there is no surety in this.
Okay.
There has to be a will from the drug addict. There has to be social support. Social support means family has to be very, very cautious. They have to come up in support. The larger family or friends and your neighbors and your classmates, depending on the person, they need to be sensitive to the issue and support him or her. You have to create an ecosystem for a drug-free society, and that ecosystem will only come in if we start talking about drug abuse. We are still pushing it under the carpet. It's something like sexual offenses that we don't like to talk about it, but we know it exists. I mean, we are trying to ignore the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, so don't ignore the elephant in the room. That's what I would like to have.
Sir, on various of the traffic signals, we see the poor condition of the beggars, which do anything for begging for the alms, and it even creates a nuisance for the people who are going through traveling on the roads. Can we eradicate this? Can we eliminate this dark spot from our society?
Look, this is a challenge. This is a dilemma I have been facing. What we did was we got the judiciary, the magistracy, and us. We sat down for a workshop on this. We looked up the laws. The laws provide for a structure to get rid of the act of begging. The police is supposed to pick up the beggars from the streets and put them into special homes for beggars. And with the special homes should be vocational training centers where the beggars will be trained in certain vocations and then put back into society. This is what the law defines, or the law has laid down. However, the structures have not been created so far. So if I pick up a beggar from the street, I don't know what to do with him. And that's becoming a real challenge. So there is a human aspect. I can drive them away, but that they'll become someone else's problem. Just I'm shooing the problem away and not solving it. So I'm still in a dilemma, and I know a few crimes happening under the garb of begging. Things being picked up from cars and stuff like that. So we are still, I have asked the administration to create the infrastructure, so that I can remove the beggars from the streets. So it's taking some time, but hopefully in the next couple of months we'll be able to do something about it.
Yes, sir. This time on Diwali, as we heard, the time for the firecrackers was given. It was allotted a time from 6:30 to 9:30, but the firecrackers kept on burning till midnight. So please comment on this.
Look, again, this was the judgment of the Honorable High Court, and we tried to implement it to the best we could. Again, it has to come from the people. These are externally these are externally applied judgments, which are very difficult to implement. This is something like, our guys cannot be available everywhere. Wherever our guys were there, the crackers were not happening. It was happening in the next street or the next mohalla or stuff like that. So we kept going from place to place. But to find out who actually did it, no one would come up. So we have registered around 30-40 odd cases that day. But most of the cases were against unknown people, because we didn't know. We saw a rocket going, but we didn't know who did it. So but that rocket was a crime, right? Yeah. And actually the next day and the day after that also I could hear a couple of them. But the number of violations were much lesser than actually I thought. That day, yes, you're right, it didn't stop at 9:30, it kept going till maybe 11:30. So a couple of hours of violations happened, and that's where most of our cases got registered. But to the credit of the people, it didn't start before 6:30. No, most people started using the crackers only after 6:30. So maybe, look, this judgment was experimental in nature. It was experimental in two forms. One, that what is the direct correlation between pollution and Diwali firecrackers? I'm sure the pollution department has done studies at different places and they'll be coming out with a finding. They have surely done it in Delhi. But is there a direct correlate between the fogs that happen after Diwali and the pollution that is created during Diwali? Or are we just looking at pollution on that day? because it's 1 day of pollution, maybe 2-3 days, because some people keep firing these crackers after that. So, should we ban crackers? That is a question. So these are the questions I'm sure the Honorable Court will be looking into, the policymakers will be looking into. But as far as implementation is concerned, if someone asks me, I would say it should be either total ban or open on Diwali day. You can't have time limits and then expect the police to be chasing the cracker users. That's not feasible. Then stop the manufacturing of crackers, stop the sale of crackers, and stop the use of crackers. Make the whole process illegal. Then we will be able to control it. Otherwise, last Diwali we saw we were not able to. We can't keep chasing people who are firing crackers. Police has much other responsibilities also. We can't. I mean, because Diwali is a sensitive day. We had a big fire near Jyoti Chowk.
Yes.
So 200 of my men got engaged there in that fire because we had to. I mean, we had to clear the neighboring shops. Otherwise, the fire would spread. So the fire brigade was on to controlling the fire. We had to control the people. We had to control the neighboring shops. We had to ensure that people don't start looting shops.
Yes.
So anyone could pick up things from shops. So all these attendant things happen when a crisis happens. So there's another big fire in Maqbulpura area. So we had to attend to those, and hence it was not only a singular responsibility of controlling or going after people who were violating the Honorable High Court's orders. So I think we might need a different strategy for next time.
Yes.
For if we decide to control crackers, I think keeping the sale side open and then restricting the number of hours will be very difficult to implement.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sir, would you like to give any social message to we youngsters, we are the coming generation, through this media?
Okay. So one message I would one thing that I would like to tell the younger generation is not related to policing, and there will be one message which will be towards policing. Look, as we started, one of the questions you asked me that where does hard work stand? Hard work is very important, right? But it's not essential that if you're not working hard at one period of time, you've lost it. So my message to the younger generation is, some people find their calling early in life, some people find it later in life. Don't get disheartened. You are in 10th and you don't know what you want to do after that. Don't get disheartened. You might be in graduation and you don't know what you want to do. I don't know, what I wanted to be in 12th is much different than what I wanted to be in graduation and what I finally became. Right? So I was absolutely confused. But at that point of time, I was agonized about it. It's always easy to connect the dots in hindsight. Now it's easy for me to say that don't get disheartened. That time, I was disheartened because I was not very sure what I wanted to do. I wanted to become an engineer in my +2. Then I met a few IITians. I was not very inspired. Everyone was running after money. Everyone was looking at packages and stuff like that. I thought that's not my calling. Then I said, okay, let me get into something else. Then I thought I'll go into management. And when I met a few of my seniors who were working for various companies, it was again the rat race. So, and I remember someone telling me, and that word stuck, that if you win in the rat race, at the end of the race, you're still a rat. So I didn't want to become that rat. I didn't want to get into the rat race. So then then I met a few officers who had who had competed in the civil services and were under training. I thought this could be something what I wanted. And that's where I started preparing for the civil. So very late I decided. So this is to the students. Take your time to decide what you want. Things are dynamic. If you've decided one thing, you don't like it, change it. You want to lose a year, not a problem. There's no, I mean, these things happen. Some people find it easier to decide, some people find it not so easy to decide. Both are right. The other thing is, from the policing point of view, what I'd like to say is keep yourself safe. You're living in a very open environment. You're being bombarded with various information. Many of them are correct, many of them are not correct. So verify and believe. Don't believe everything that you see in the media, particularly social media, and also in the open media. We are in an IT-enabled world. IT gives me the highs, but as a police, IT, technology to most individuals, most people, gives us a high. I can do this, I can do that. As a policeman, it gives me jitters because the misuse of technology is very high. So when you are using technology, be very sure that you know the pitfalls of technology, of the technology that you are using. And be aware of the pitfalls, keep yourself safe. The information that you are putting up in the social domain, even if it is a restricted feed like Facebook, Twitter or whatever, it's all going public. So put only that information you think you want to put in the public domain. And remember, a lot of this information can be misused. This information is money for a lot of companies. So the information that we are putting in the public domain is being used as data by most companies, and people are making billions out of it. So beware when you put in information on the social domain, and don't believe people. Start with disbelieving things and believe once you verify. So what I say, believe but verify.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
So we are highly enriched after having a one-to-one conversation with you. It was a lifetime experience and we cherish it forever.
Thank you.
After this interview will be published in Innocent Hearts News in 2017-18, a lot of students are going to draw benefit out of it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. The pleasure was entirely mine, and wishing you
Same
both
here, sir.
a wonderful year ahead and a
Thank you,
wonderful
sir.
future.
Thank you.